Welcome into Steelers Talk, Yinzers. My name is Jack Sperry, and today I'm going to be revealing 5 moves that the Pittsburgh Steelers can still make here before the start of the 2023 season. Yes, the 90-man roster is for all we know, finalized, but they could still make some moves here. Does Omar Khan still have something up his sleeve? Here are some moves that he could potentially do. But first, make sure you subscribe to the channel, because if the Steelers make another move, if they cut somebody, if they sign somebody, if they trade for somebody, we're going to have a breaking news video right here on Steelers Talk for you. So make sure you click that subscribe button. Turn on your notifications so you always know when we have breaking news action here on the channel. So the first move that GM Omar Khan could make is cut Kevin Dotson. Now, we've talked about this quite a bit over the offseason. I think he's made every single one of my cut candidates lists throughout the offseason this year, and it's pretty obvious why. Last year, a 65.4 Pro Football Focus grade, which actually wasn't all that terrible. It was about average according to NFL standards. He did allow 4 sacks. But, he's relegated now as more of a depth piece, because you bring in Isaac Seumalo and Nate Herbig, and you still have Mason Cole and James Daniels. Like, Dotson's not going to be a starter this year, and he knows it, which is kind of leading to him kind of not being too thrilled about being in Pittsburgh right now at OTAs. He has shown up. He's done everything, but apparently Mike Tomlin threw him out of drills because his attitude wasn't great. So it just doesn't seem like he wants to be with the Pittsburgh Steelers right now. And as Mike Tomlin likes to say, we want volunteers, not hostages. And right now it kind of seems like Kevin Dotson is a hostage. And, he played all 17 games for the Pittsburgh Steelers last year. I understand why he's a little bit upset. You go through the whole season, you improve, you get better. He actually did a pretty decent job as a pass protector last year, according to Pro Football Focus grading. But, it's time to move on from Kevin Dotson, man. It just is. It's the way the business works. And if you cut him, you save over $2.5 million, $2.743 to be exact. And I think that would be really, really nice. Plus, it opens up another spot on the roster for GM Omar Khan to make another splash, which is always a positive. So let me know down in the comments right now, what move would you like the Steelers to make before the start of training camp? All right, this is going to be the pinned comment on today's show. So whenever YouTube throws an ad break your way, take advantage of that time by answering this question. What move would you like the Steelers to make before the start of training camp? So another person they could cut, and another guy that's made every single one of my cut candidates list this offseason, is Montravius Adams. Because Adams, plain simply, was just awful last season. 48.9 Pro Football Focus grade, which was good for 105th out of 127 eligible defensive tackles in the National Football League last year. That's not going to cut it. Okay, and the Steelers already have many players, in my opinion, that are better than him on the roster at his position. I like Keanu Benson. They bring in Braden Fajoku in NFL free agency. You don't necessarily need Montravius Adams on the roster. And right now, if you cut him, you save $2.5 million. That's a pretty nice penny to get for somebody that's just not a very good player as a nose tackle, in my opinion. I would absolutely cut this guy. I've said it from day one of this offseason. I don't want Adams on the roster. You get a nice little cap savings hit there if you cut him. And then also, you just get somebody that's just not very good off your football team. All right, guys, let's have a little word from our sponsor here, which is actually the Chat Sports website here. Go to chatsports.com/Steelers combo to get this awesome Steelers t-shirt combo where you get the short sleeve there with the black, and then you also got the long sleeve white for this summer. So if you're looking for some more black and gold to fill out your wardrobe this summer, get ready for the 2023 season. You want a new game day shirt? This combo is actually on sale right now. You can get these 2 shirts for about $30, all right? Not a piece, together. $30 for these 2 shirts. I love the designs of this year's shirts, man. So if you want to get this t-shirt combo on sale right now for Father's Day or for yourself, you can go chatsports.com/Steelers combo to get these shirts in your wardrobe today. And now we have another player that you could potentially cut if you're Omar Khan, and that's Gunnar Olszewski. Now, Olszewski, another guy. All 3 of these guys have been on all of my cut candidates lists this year, and none of them have gotten cut yet, so maybe the Steelers want them. I don't know, but I'm just saying that these 3 guys you could absolutely part ways with. Last year, a 57.6 PFF grade, not great there. He tried his hand as punt returner and kickoff returner. Just didn't go well. Multiple muff punts. not great for Olszewski last year. And then when he was asked to play as a wide receiver in the slot last year, he never got open. Plain and simply, he is not a good wide receiver, and you can save quite a bit by cutting him right now with a $2 million cap boost if you end up cutting him today, post-June 1st. And I think that that's absolutely worth it because you got Anthony Miller and Calvin Austin III and Allen Robinson and, of course, Deontay Johnson and George Pickens. You got a pretty decent wide receiver room right now if you're the Pittsburgh Steelers. I just don't really see how Olszewski fits on this roster. I don't think he'd be particularly missed. So if you need another spot on this roster, I say you could potentially cut Gunnar Olszewski. But if you could only pick one player to cut on this Steelers roster, which one would it be? Would it be Kevin Dotson, Montravius Adams, or Gunnar Olszewski? Let me know in the comments section what you guys think by typing KD for Kevin Dotson, MA for Montravius Adams, or GO for Gunnar Olszewski. So plain and simply, if you cut somebody or multiple players on this roster, that opens the door for Omar Khan to make another splash move here before the start of the 2023 season. And personally, I would probably go with an inside linebacker, somebody to fill out the depth in that inside linebacker room. And a good way you could do that is signing somebody in free agency. So, I think inside linebacker is a move that you absolutely need to make. But, if you want some names for the Steelers to potentially go get here in free agency, this is a video that we did covering the top 10 free agency targets for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Lots of inside linebacker players, including Quan Alexander, is on the thumbnail there. So I'll put the description to that video in the comments and description. So I would target inside linebacker here, personally. Like I've said, I think that that's the position that is kind of like the last piece. You don't really need to do it because I like Cole Holcomb and Landon Roberts and Mark Robinson. You don't need to go get an inside linebacker, but that room could certainly use some depth. And there are some guys in free agency that I would potentially go get. So Kyle Van Noy is someone that's very interesting to me. Somebody that can play both inside and outside linebacker, somebody that's a very versatile piece. Is he going to be willing to play the bench? I'm not too sure. If he is, I would absolutely give him a ring. And then Quan Alexander came in for a visit a couple weeks ago. We've heard nothing since. So maybe, it's the playing time. Maybe it's a medical issue. But whatever happened there, it just seems like Quan Alexander isn't going to be a fit for the Steelers. Then you got Rashaan Evans, who the Steelers really liked coming out in the 2019 draft. Even considered trading up for him, but ended up not doing that. And, he's available on the market right now. Maybe bring him in, somebody that's played a lot of football in this league, somebody that's still a really good athlete, still relatively young. Deion Jones, former Pro Bowler with the Atlanta Falcons, played with the Browns last year, had a pretty decent season. And then Myles Jack, if you want to bring him back, someone that knows the defense, someone that's a solid tackler. He's not really an X factor like the Steelers thought that they were getting when they signed him to that pretty big contract in free agency last year. Pretty much no tackles for loss, pretty much no sacks, pretty much no X factor type plays, but over 100 tackles. You can definitely trust him if one of your starters gets hurt here in Pittsburgh. Then the final thing that you could do if you're GM Omar Khan is you could trade for Isaiah Simmons or somebody else, but right now I'd say Isaiah Simmons is probably the most likely trade target for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And the reason for that is that he's a versatile chess piece. And we know that head coach Mike Tomlin loves him some versatile chess pieces. We see it with the way he uses Minkah Fitzpatrick, with the way he's planning on using Patrick Peterson. I mean, Terrell Edmonds was another one that he moved around quite a bit as well. And Simmons can be a similar type of guy like that where you can move him around. You can really use him for disguised coverages and really screw with the minds of opposing quarterbacks. Last year, 99 tackles, 5 tackles for loss, 4 sacks, and 2 interceptions. It was by far his best year of his career. Maybe not what people were expecting when the Cardinals drafted him. Very, very, very high in his draft. I believe it was the 2020 draft. I think it was 8th overall. And, man, he's somebody that a lot of people thought was going to be like a safety, hybrid, nickel cornerback linebacker that was just going to be amazing. And that's just not the way that it ended up working out. He's pretty decent in my opinion. And for a 5th-round pick, I think the Steelers would maybe consider it, and I think the Cardinals would as well. The Cardinals are rebuilding right now, and that's definitely something that the Cardinals might look at and say, we're trying to get as many draft picks as we possibly can. We're not going to be bringing back Isaiah Simmons in free agency, so we might as well get something for him now. So I would say Isaiah Simmons for 2024 5th-round pick is probably what the trade package would look like. Maybe you give or take around there. Maybe it's a 4th-round pick. Maybe it's a 6th-round pick. And knowing Omar Khan, it would probably be a 7th-round pick because he's just that good making these kinds of trades. But let me know what you guys think down there in the comments. Will the Steelers make a splash via trade or free agency? Would you rather, here, we're going to play a little game here. Would you rather trade for a player like Isaiah Simmons, or would you rather make a splash in free agency to finish out the 2023 offseason? Type T if you would rather go for a trade, or if you would rather go with free agency, type F down there in the comments. For me personally, I'd rather stick with my draft capital. I'd rather go out and get a guy in free agency like a Quan Alexander or Kyle Van Noy or somebody else like that, Rashaan Evans even Miles Jack. I'd rather go with that and not have to give up any draft capital as opposed to going and getting a risky type of player like Isaiah Simmons, who, yes, has high upside, but he hasn't really lived up to his potential, and there is a reason why Arizona is willing to deal him. For me, I'd rather go with free agency, get somebody on a vet minimum contract to fill out the rest of that inside linebacker room. All right, that's going to be it for today's show, guys. I really do appreciate all of the real ones that made it to the end of today's show. Make sure you click that subscribe button and turn on your notifications because we got some great Steelers content coming your way later on this week.